Welcome back to Cure Connections. We have just been joined by Maryann Wahmann. She's the founder of the Neuroendocrine Cancer Awareness Network. Welcome, Maryann.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us again, Professor Pleasanton.
Thank you.
And Dr. Morse. So Maryann, tell me more about your organization. How did it start? Did it have a different name before? Has it always been called Neuroendocrine Network?
So I was misdiagnosed for 7 years, and I finally was diagnosed in 2001.
And diagnosed with carcinoid? Okay.
I was diagnosed with carcinoid, and so I reached out to try to find out some information, and there was a lot of misinformation out online. And,
That's shocking.
Yeah. And when I started reading that I would be dead in 5 years, I wasn't very happy.
Seriously, somebody said about neuroendocrine that you would be dead in 5 years?
Yeah, the statistics back in 2001, most of them said that after 5 years you would be gone. And so we started working with the Carcinoid Cancer Foundation. And then in 2002, I took over the support group in New York. And I realized that there was no awareness of the disease, and there wasn't much education out there. There was very, very, very tiny little research going on. And so in 2003, we started the foundation. So our organization, it was originally called the Carcinoid Cancer Awareness Network because, of course, I was diagnosed with carcinoid. And through the years, we had grown, and we started doing all neuroendocrine. And through the years, less and less doctors were using the word carcinoid. So we decided in 2014 to officially change our name to neuroendocrine.
That's an amazing journey. Now, at the beginning, you said something that you were misdiagnosed for 7 years.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I was misdiagnosed for 7 years. I had 7 colonoscopies and 7 endoscopes.
7 colonoscopies?
7 endoscopes, 7 different doctors. And I was told I had irritable bowels, ulcerative colitis. I was told I was crazy. I was told I needed a marriage counselor, and that's why it was happening. I had severe abdominal pains, rectal bleeding, to the point where I was having blood transfusions. And severe diarrhea. There were times where I would literally not be able to leave the bathroom and go 40 times.
Did you have flushing? So what were your symptoms? You had, so bleeding is not a very common symptom, is it?
No, it depends on where the tumor is located, but most people don't report that as a common problem.
Yeah.
So for Maryann, for you though, it was bleeding. Did you have any other other symptoms or other diseases that was kind of maybe causing it, or what was the thought?
Well, the thought is that I also have lupus and ITP, which is a low platelet count. So when the bleeding started, they assumed it was related to that. When they were going in doing the colonoscopies and the endoscopes, they would see inflammation, and they assumed it was related to the lupus. And finally, the last doctor, I went in there and I said, hey, you have to go in there and don't come out until you find out exactly what's going on. I said, because
I have all day, I have all month.
But at this point, I was beginning to think I really was crazy, you know, and I was very, very lucky I had a supportive family, because most people don't have that relationship. And I was very lucky my husband stood by my side and said, no, there's something seriously wrong. And so I finally went to my last GI doctor, and he said, had anybody ever used a pediatric scope? And I looked at the man.
You see a pediatric colonoscopy? Okay.
And I looked at him like he had 4 heads. I said, what are you talking about? I'm in my 30s. Why would you use a pediatric scope? He said, listen, it's more flexible. It's a little bit longer. Hey, maybe I can get into the ileum and see what's going on. And sure enough, he came out and he found it. He said, I found the bleeding. I found the tumor.
Oh, and then tumor was bleeding.
The tumor was bleeding, and it was about just a little under 2 centimeters. And so I went on my journey, and I started having surgery and started on standard-statin, and then went on to octreotide, a 24-hour infusion of with an insulin pump, and I just started in April with Zormello.
That's amazing.